and starting to focus through the side panels at the front of the temple area. We're working slightly forward diagonal sections, cutting vertically and working graduation from a shorter point where my fingertips are and a longer point where my knuckles are, building up a slight corner on the roundness of the head, which is going to increase length and weight on the curvature of the head, but go shorter towards the sideburn area, which is a very good prep for us to then work some clippers in at the sideburn to really taper out and sharpen up the look, where we're going to create our length running from the frontal in towards the apex at the back of the head. We're going to be cutting a square shape vertically, which is retaining that length in the fringe area, and we're going to be working from the front into the back to control that shape. We're working with deep point cutting, where we're not actually creating a very clean line at all. Although we do want a strong shape, which is square, we are creating quite a jagged line in terms of the point cut, which is good because we want to enhance and create as much texture as possible in this look. Once we have that vertical profile guide in, we can then start to work from the back of the head, working from the corner of the head where we're building the squareness up into the center where our length is that we've just cut, which is used as our guide. As we move in towards the back zone, this is now the last zone that we're going to cut before we start to dry and style and personalize. Let's start off by creating a vertical profile section from the crown area where the hair is, all the way down to the nape where we want to retain the length. This will allow us to see the shape and length that we currently have in there, where you can see it's shorter at the crown, longer over the occipital bone, and then again, it builds up in length towards the nape. What we want to do is reduce that length and weight over the occipital bone by maintaining the length and using that as a guide through the crown, as we don't want to take that any shorter. Where we want to reduce most of the length is through the occipital bone area. So as we hit the occipital bone, we're going to start elevating our knuckles away from the bottom of the head so we retain all of the length around the edge. Also, I'm working still with the point cutting even when I'm cross-checking. We can see now that we have a much cleaner, more smoother shape through the back, vertically and horizontally, where we have a little bit of length through the crown. It goes quite short through the occipital bone area, and then around the nape is left completely disconnected. But everything looks connected and it flows. Once the wet shape has been cut, we're going to add now some texturizing paste into the hair. This is a great product where you could technically leave the hair from wet to dry if the client was doing this at home. This fading technique is perfect for when you want to work in small areas, very detailed and intricate fades around the sideburn, mainly tapers and low fades. Also, we're working with quite strong density and thickness and darkness of hair, meaning that the lower we go down in terms of the length, the more of the corner of the clipper that we want to use around the bottom to make it a little bit more precise. Once we finish that blend, which shouldn't take too long, we're now going to line up around the edges with the detailer. Once the clipper work has been completed, we're now going to focus our attention on heavily texturizing the top. We could even do this with a pair of texturizing shears to really create an imbalance in shape and texture, which would be a good option. But you can also work with your classic scissor and just work with very deep point cutting at a very heavy angle on coming down in towards the top of the hair. We're probably texturizing at least halfway into the hair shaft at this short length. We're going to finish off this styling with some strong dry clay, which is a very dry product which will add moisture into the hair and give maximum hold. So we're going to be working this through all of the areas that still has color in the hair and spike up the top of the hair for a really cool personalized styling finish on this client.